Hello there, a warm welcome to WION, broadcasting live from the British capital this hour. You're with me, Katie Pilgrim. Let's get to the headlines. NHS crisis in UK deepens as England's biggest nursing union threatens fresh strike. The Royal College of Nurses to up the ante by holding a single national vote. Explosions and gunfire have been reported on Monday morning in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, as fighting in the country enters its third day. Myanmar's military government grants amnesty to over 3,000 prisoners to mark the Buddhist New Year, but doesn't specify if political detainees are among those being released. Japanese video games group Sega offers to buy Finnish company Rovio, the maker of Angry Birds, for $776 million. China's Ding Liren equalises World Chess Championship 3-3 after a thrilling win with black pieces over Russians Ian Nepomniachtchi in Game 6. First to our top story this hour. The threat of widespread industrial action, it still looms over the UK. In the latest, nurses say they are prepared to strike until Christmas after the government reaches a deal with the union. Well, the Royal College of Nurses says its NHS members in England are also planning to hold another round of 48-hour strikes in May. The fresh threat by the union comes after the members rejected a new pay offer by the government. Well, the new pay deal offered to health unions includes a 5% pay increase this year and a one-off payment for last year. All the 5 health unions, including the RCN, backed the offer and even recommended its members to support it. But after the votes, RCN said 54% of its members who voted opted to reject the deal. Health Secretary Steve Barclay have already warned that fresh nurses' strikes would have a serious impact on emergency services and cancer care, while calling the pay offer fair and reasonable. Meanwhile, Labour's shadow Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, appealed to the RCN to continue to protect emergency life-saving care if it does strike again, while some opposition lawmakers terming the fresh strike as a wake-up call for the Conservative Party. Alex Isaac is joining us here in the British capital. So this is a real reality check. We could have nice nurses striking, I should say, until Christmas.
Yes, that's right. Now, it was came as a little bit of a surprise because when the offer was put on the table, the Unison, RCN and the other unions all agreed that they were going to push for their members to accept the deal. Now, Unison has said that its staff members have agreed to their deal, but the RCN, Royal College of Nursing, said its members haven't. Now, it seems like the members themselves are the ones that want to push this forward. They actually want to get something back from the government. They they do feel tired and overworked. But there is a rumour going around that they're going to try and initiate their strike action to be alongside the junior doctors. But the RCN this morning has said that that is not their plan. They just want to get this strike out there on April 30th to the May the 2nd is what the dates we have at the moment. They just want to get that strike to try and get the government to come back to the table. Now, Steve Barclay, Health Secretary, says he is willing to have a conversation, but not about pay. That offer that he offered back a couple months back still stands, but ultimately right now that no more money will be given out. But he will discuss other conditions, potentially different working areas as well with all the unions. And the members have to have a say because ultimately they are the ones that get to vote whether or not they go ahead with strikes.
Alex Isaac, thank you so much. We're going to move on from WION Royalty, Alex Isaac there, to actual royalty and talk about the royal family. So thank you so much. Well, let's talk about the coronation, because as the season nears here in the UK, King Charles's personal wealth has come under public scrutiny. Well, according to reports, King Charles has an estimated net worth of around $740 million. Even before Charles took over as the reigning monarch, he was already earning between $19 and $28 million in revenue from the Duchy of Cornwall and his other estates after the passing Queen Elizabeth, I should say, last September. The king, he did inherit her artwork, jewellery and property. Well, earlier, an investigation report conducted by The Guardian shows the complete income extracted by the royals from the Duchess of Lancaster and Cornwall. So the two duchies, they are responsible for land and property across England. The estates, they operate several farmlands, hotels, medieval castles, offices, shops, and a few of London's prime luxury real estate as well. But even after making millions as profit, the duchies pay no corporation tax or capital gains tax either. Last year, the income from duchies came to around $52.1 million. After adjusting inflation, they received more than £1 billion, the equivalent of $1.2 billion. The Duchy of Lancaster consists of 18,481 hectares of rural land, primarily in the north of England and the Midlands as well. The estate automatically passes to whoever is sitting on the throne, and it is valued at $814,000. Gosh, at 52,450 hectares, the Duchy of Cornwall is worth more than $1.2 billion. The profits still only go to the male heir to the throne. Well, lawmakers in the UK have been challenging the process for years now. Several lawmakers have called for duchy profits to be paid to the Treasury instead. The royals, on the other hand, have long insisted that their duchy income be treated as private and separate from the sovereign grant. In addition to the inheritance, the sovereign grant allocated by the government also make up a big chunk of financial support for the royal family. Well, the support, the grant, it does contain funds to cover expenses such as staffing costs, castle maintenance, travel and security. The UK's public broadcaster, the BBC, is back in the news again as reports have emerged that the broadcasters have sent letters to some of its top presenters, which offers voluntary redundancy as it looks to cut spending in its news division. Well, according to reports, the list includes some of the big names of the BBC. So household names such as Hugh Edwards, Clive Myrie, Rita Chakrabarti, and Sophie Rayworth. Recently, many sections across the BBC have faced cuts. And after the BBC announced it is to merge its UK and international news channels, experts are predicting around 70 job cuts in the news division alone. However, to ease the concerns on the jobs cuts, BBC's one of the most senior presenters, Hugh Edwards, he tweeted that this is a standard HR exercise by the BBC and urged viewers to avoid such reports. According to a BBC spokesperson, the letter is not about any new job cuts and that it's not targeting any individuals as they have to send it to everyone on the same grade. That's the rules. Now, the letter comes after a row between the presenters and the BBC after the broadcaster suspended the football legend turned presenter Gary Lineker as he compared the UK's government migrant plans to 1930s Nazi Germany.
Dog and I'm going to do my shopping, so would you mind letting me do it on my own?
You on, Gary?
Russian President Vladimir Putin, he hosted China's Defense Minister Li Shangfu in Moscow on Sunday. The Defense Minister is on a 3-day visit to the country. The visit also marks China's strengthening engagement with Russia. Li's visit comes a month after Chinese President Xi Jinping held talks with Putin in Moscow. Well, Putin welcomed Li on Sunday and the two held talks together. Russia's Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu also was present in that meeting. Now, Putin said that Russian-Chinese military cooperation helps to strengthen strategic and trust-based relations between the two countries. He added that Russia-China ties have entered a new era.
По всем направлениям идет очень хорошее развитие отношений в экономике, в социальной, в культурной, в образовательной отрасли. Ну и по линии военных ведомств мы работаем также активно, регулярно обмениваемся полезной для нас информацией, сотрудничаем в сфере военно-технического взаимодействия.
Defense Minister Li Shangfu said China is willing to work with Russia to make new contributions to the maintenance of world and regional security and stability.
中俄关系发展有着清晰的历史逻辑和强大的内生动力，超越了冷战时期的军政同盟模式，以不结盟、不对抗、不针对第三方原则为基础，也不受第三方干扰。 树立了新型大国关系的典范。
Well, over the years, Moscow and Beijing have ramped up cooperation and ties. These have only become stronger and closer since Russia decided to send tens of thousands of troops into Ukraine last year. But China has portrayed itself as a neutral party in the war by refusing to sell weapons to either side. However, a senior official from Ukraine has made claims that Ukrainian forces are finding a growing number of components from China in Russian weapons used in Ukraine. China, meanwhile, has denied allegations that it is sending military equipment to Russia.
Territorial Defense Brigades.
Okay, let's talk about Iran now, because it's begun its crackdown on headscarf violators. Well, several businesses have also been shut in the process. Well, this comes as the Islamic regime has formulated the plan, made especially to enforce its strict dress code for women. Iranian police on Sunday said it has shut more than 150 businesses in 24 hours. Well, they've been shut for not enforcing the order on their premises requiring women to wear headscarves. Police said that 137 shops and 18 restaurants and reception areas as well have been sealed off. The plan to enforce the hijab law also includes recognition of violators using what it calls smart technology. So under this, cameras have been installed at public places. These cameras identify the women flouting the dress code. Well, following this, the violators are warned and even punished if they continue to defy the law. Meanwhile, women in the capital Tehran criticised the plan to introduce surveillance. Many said that enforcing the ban will only make the country's situation worse.
قطعاً بدتر میکنه. چرا؟ من چون خودم دیدم توی همسن و ساله خودم در سطح شهر از وقتی که این موضوع دست به دست توی فضای مجازی و اینا چرخیده، انگار دارن مقابله میکنن با این طرحی که دادن. این برخورد سخت و زنندم قطعاً یا خرابترش میکنه یا به جایی نمیرسونتش.
حجاب یه مسئله اختیاریه، یعنی خود شخص باید تصمیم بگیره که من دوست دارم مثلا دورم بندازم شاله یا سرم کنم. اینکه بخوان به مردم فشار بیارن فکر میکنم نتیجه برعکس بده.
Well, women in large numbers have come out to defy Iran's mandatory dress code. This started as part of the protest triggered by the death of a Kurdish woman, Maha Amini, in police custody. Following this, Iran vowed to crack down on those violating or encouraging the violation of the hijab law. Well, its Deputy Attorney General had warned that such people will be prosecuted in criminal courts. He also said that they will have no right to appeal against any conviction. Well, the country, which witnessed one of the worst protests in its history last year, has only become strict towards enforcing the dress code. Okay, so for something out of this world now, all systems are green and all hands are on the deck as the small town of Boca Chica in Texas prepares to witness a historical launch, T-minus 12 hours from now. Elon Musk, well, the aptly named Starship is all set to take off for its first orbital flight test today, paving the path for man's return to the moon and soon a trip to Mars as well. So the United States Federal Aviation Administration has given the green light to SpaceX's long-awaited license for the Starship's first test flight. Was scheduled for liftoff from a Starbase launch at the Boca Chica beach. This will be the first time the rocket will take flight with both its Super Heavy booster and Starship command module attached to it. While towering 120 meters above the southern Texas coastline, the Starship Super Heavy is the largest spacecraft ever to be assembled in human history. The rocket, it dwarfs NASA's legendary Saturn V, which spearheaded NASA's Apollo program to the moon and back. Well as the Soviet Union's as well, their N-1 moon rocket, which never made it past the launch pad, exploding a minute into its flight. Well, the maiden orbital flight is expected to last 1.5 hours, falling short of a full orbit of our planet. The booster module will break away from the command module and fall into the Gulf of Mexico, while the command module will continue its journey and make a horizontal water landing in Hawaii. While the entire craft is reusable, neither of the modules will be used past this flight test. Well, the real test for the Starship Super Heavy will be humanity's maiden flight to Mars, something Elon has touted as his magnum opus. While Musk has remained tight-lipped about the odds of success for the flight, the SpaceX CEO has guaranteed excitement and promised everyone that the launch will be anything but boring. The Starship's immediate goal is to get off all of its essential systems tested in the space flight. The aim is to use the rocket to ferry Starlink satellites into low Earth orbit. But the main goal, though, remains to prepare the entire craft for a manned mission to the moon as early as 2025. SpaceX has been awarded a $3 billion contract for the Starship to use as an upper stage craft for NASA's astronauts. The moon-bound crew will either aboard the Orion capsule on NASA's SLS rocket and transfer over to the Starship command module for the lunar landing.
Well, Starship really has the potential to be completely revolutionary. It's going to be a real game changer, just because of its scale, because of its economics, and because of its capabilities. All three of those reasons will really change what we do in space. It'll be able to take a lot more people. So SpaceX is hoping to carry humans to much further distances inside our solar system, a lot more humans at one time, and also do it much more cost effectively. Not only humans, but also taking cargo up to space, satellites, space telescopes. So they're trying to kind of break the mold on a lot of different fronts.
Okay, let's talk about some entertainment now, shall we? And my favourite, The Phantom of the Opera. So Andrew Lloyd Webber's blockbuster musical, which is my favourite, Phantom of the Opera. It closed this weekend after its final run in the US. On Sunday, that majestic chandelier at Broadway dropped for the final time. Our next report brings you more details.
Show the world that Broadway is back.